Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We are here with Keyara, a Team Canada rugby player, and Boglarka, a university soccer player from Hungary. And finally, we have Gordon joining us. Gordon is our Gazette volunteer that has volunteered his time to help out with the organization. So I'm really excited to have him on our team. So today we'll just be kind of talking with these amazing girls and amazing athletes about their journeys and asking them questions and kind of going from there. So I'm going to let Gordon take it away. So Gordon, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we can start asking these lovely ladies some questions.
All right, thank you, Dia. I'm Gordon, Coach Gordon. I'm a volleyball coach, girls volleyball coach with Ace Volleyball Club in Western Canada. And I came to this program because I have a passion for girls, coaching girls, and their path through the journey of sports. And here today, we have a couple great athletes. We're really happy to have them here. Keyara Wardley, Tokyo 2020 hopeful in rugby sevens, and Boglarka Ori, who's from Hungary and has made a tremendous journey to different parts of the world and is currently in England doing her master's and playing soccer. Welcome to you both, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's start with Keyara. Keyara, I understand your brother introduced you to rugby in grade 7.
Yes, he did. I grew up dancing all the way up to grade 7, and that's when he kind of, not enforced, but kind of showed me some options of playing different sports, and that I could go different levels of different sports. And my favorite sport all throughout high school was volleyball, and that was my number one. I stuck to it. I needed an off-season sport, and at the time it was rugby. So my brother wanted me to join just to see if I liked it, kind of, like broaden my sports out. And I did stick with it. Didn't really love it. That was the 15 side of rugby. So there's lots of contact and a very long period of time. And when grade 12 came around, I found rugby sevens, and I loved it instantly. It was no brainer that I wanted to go rugby sevens as far as I could. And I mean, volleyball would always be there, but rugby sevens was definitely the way to go. So I had the opportunity to join the Maple Leaf program, which is out here in Victoria. And I started playing rugby out here as soon as I graduated with the national team. And it's just been a great journey, and I've loved it ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. I understand you're a bit of a celebrity in your hometown of Vulcan, Alberta.
Yeah, there's not many people there, so hard not to be. But yeah, it was a great learning experience to grow up in such a small town and just to work hard to kind of broaden wherever I was playing.
Awesome. Your high school coach called you tenacious, like a honey badger. She said that Keyara just doesn't give up.
Yeah.
And now this has led you to one of 24 training and possibly one of 13 picked to go to the 2020 Olympics happening this summer.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing experience, and I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for my amazing coaches and having them kind of instill the honey badger mentality and the tenacious mentality. And yeah, just to be able to have the opportunity to come out to Victoria and be training with, the national team and with girls who I look up to still every day from the 2016 Olympics, and to be able to be training with them is amazing. And the amount of knowledge that I've picked up from them within a short period of time is honestly such a blessing, and I'm so honored to be here.
Wow, that's just incredible. Let's shift the conversation over to Boglarka. Boglarka, welcome. And let's talk about where you came from, how you started. I understand you were part of Hungary's national youth athletics team.
Yeah, so like all my life, like sport has always been a big part. And like my dad played football, like all of my siblings are doing some kind of sport. And I grew up doing track and field. Like I started doing track and field when I was 14, and I did like throughout my high school years. And I made it to the youth national team in pole vault back in like 2014. And yeah, like I thought that I'm gonna be a track and field athlete my whole life. But then, well, like as I was reaching towards the end of my high school years, like I started thinking about what to do next, and I eventually like decided to go and study abroad. So that's how I ended up at New York University in Abu Dhabi. And there, like unfortunately, NYUAD didn't have a track and field team, so I kind of like had to like come up with something new. And I always wanted to play football like all my life, like soccer. I always wanted to play soccer all my life. But in Hungary, like there is like this view on soccer, like especially for women. It's not really encouraged back here, and my parents were not really encouraging it either. So I couldn't really join a team here. But then in Abu Dhabi, I had a chance to join the women's team there. So yeah, I played with the team, and that team like really like became my family. And obviously, like because I graduated last year, I had to move on again. So that's how I ended up in England, where I'm doing my master's in sports psychology right now. And I joined the team there as well. But unfortunately, COVID came, so I couldn't really play any games with the team, and I had to come back to Hungary, where actually right now, like I'm going to join a Hungarian team here, like next month. So that's gonna be another journey again. But yeah, so like yeah, all my life I've been like really like jumping from environments to environments and from teams to teams. But yeah, but it's all like I always knew that I would want to play, and then I carried on. Yeah.
Jumping from sport to sport. So you were a 6-time national youth champion in athletics. That's just amazing. And so you also were coaching other Abu Dhabi athletes. That's in the United Arab Emirates. Is that true? What was that like?
Yeah. So actually, my coach came up with this program called Her Sports in Abu Dhabi, because women in the UAE have like fewer opportunities to play, especially football, which is kind of biased in the UAE. So like my coach came up with this program where we essentially like collect women all around Abu Dhabi and make them come to our field or to our campus to play volleyball, basketball, and football on a weekly basis. And we coach them, we play with them, and all levels are welcome. So yeah, I joined that program last year for my last year when I was there, and it was really an amazing experience to be able to see those women, go out there and play and also be with each other and forming like a community. Yeah.
Amazing. And I understand you're hoping to go back to the UAE later on to go back to coaching.
Yeah. So like I'm planning to either go back to coaching or like come up with a mental program within my old university, which I started planning that as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens, because I feel like in the UAE there's still a lot of room for improvement, and I really want to be there and then try to make that change.
Awesome. And you did say that when you came west, you were a little bit shocked to find that it's common for women and girls to be engaged in sport here.
Yeah, exactly.
So shifting to the next question then, so both of our mentors have experienced multiple sports growing up, and I think that's just fantastic. We're getting into an era now where youth are often specializing in one sport and quite early, and injuries are starting to play a part with, concussions and ACL injuries, being the highest amongst girls and women. And I was just wondering, do you feel that being a multi-sport athlete helped you further your career, and how?
Yeah, I think I grew up dancing, so being light on my feet, quick on my feet, that really helped transfer over to rugby. And like rugby, you need to be quick, you need to like be always on your toes. So dancing definitely helped in that way. And even like having the different knowledge of other sports, I think that is really beneficial in whatever sport you have. And it definitely helps with athleticism, I think, as well.
Great. Good answer, Boglarka.
Yeah, no, I just want to say, like, I completely agree. Like, for me as well, like, coming from a track and field background and then transferring into the football background, like my speed, I always had that as a benefit for me. Like, I was always very fast on the field, and then that obviously thanks to track and field. But I also think, like, because I tried out track and, like, I always loved football more than I did track and field. So I guess, like, trying out a lot gives you that opportunity to really know what you love. Yeah, because I feel like, talented people, like when they're young and talented, they kind of being thrown into a sport. They just not mainly because they love it, but more like because they're very talented in it, which gives them less opportunity to decide if they really want to do it or they only doing it because they're talented. So,
And Boglarka, when you started playing soccer, you were being told that your body wasn't typical for the sport, that you need to be much stronger to play the game. Do you recall your answer to that comment?
yeah. No, because I never had like a really muscular kind of body. So like even my parents were like, yeah, you're fast, like you're good at dribbling, but you are not good at the contact part of it. So yeah, I struggled with that a lot.
And it's about your level of training, not how you look, that matters.
Exactly.
Great. Over to you, Dia.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment to that. I'm a volleyball coach, the same as Coach Gordon. And sorry, I was supposed to call you Coach Gordon. So this is Coach Gordon. But I have coached smaller girls, and that's kind of seemed I get a lot of shorter girls. And of course, in the sport of volleyball, short girls they can't play the sport. I am so impressed how high short girls can jump and how much work they put into moving. And it's just they put that extra effort in. If you really love the sport and they're passionate about it, they put that extra effort in to make sure they can do the sport. Doesn't matter how they look, they just want to do the sport. So I've definitely had some athletes do that as well too. So so the question I have for you guys is at any point in your sports journey, did you have any barriers that you face, significant barriers, and anything that stands out for you in terms of those barriers and why they were there and how you had to overcome them? We'll start with Keyara first and go to Boglarka.
Yeah, growing up in a small town, there's obviously not a lot of opportunities. So being able to have such a supportive family to take me an hour and a half into the city, there and back is very challenging, not only for them, but to always kind of have my back with everything. And just being a Black female athlete is one thing. And I was always told I wasn't good enough, that I was too small. I'm a girl, so I won't make it anywhere. And honestly, that just like lit a fire inside me. And I knew, like my brother taught me, don't engage in any sort of like negative energy. Like their words mean quite literally nothing, because you can prove them wrong. And I worked as hard as I could to get here today, and I did prove them wrong. So I think not helping younger athletes not engage in negative comments or saying that you're not good enough to do something. I think that to help younger athletes kind of use that as fuel to push their boundaries, push their barriers, and to prove them wrong, that they can do anything that they put their mind to.
So just a follow-up question on that. So when did it, so you said your parents really supported you in this. Obviously, I'm a small town as well too, and I know that the opportunity is very slim. When did it come from your parents' support to it's just all me? Was there ever a transition to that, or was it kind of just the consistent all the way through?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much consistent. I mean, as soon as I could start driving, I kind of was like, oh, like, don't worry about it. Like, I can make my way. And I think, like, even though they supported me no matter what, they're like, oh, like, it's fine, we want to come watch. Like, they would always kind of go out of their way to make me feel comfortable and to not make me feel like I'm alone. But it was definitely harder when I moved out here because I really had to do everything on my own, and my parents were also still very supportive of that. They would come out like once every couple months to just make sure I'm doing okay, I'm eating well, and like no matter where they were, they would always make the time to make sure I was comfortable, make sure I was doing what I loved, and just to have them kind of acknowledge that I wanted to go farther, and having them support me no matter what I wanted to do was such a huge help in where I am today.
That's amazing. Boglarka, what about you?
Yeah, I think like I was always like battling with self-confidence throughout my years, and because like Hungary, like in terms of sport, Hungary is very, very like the Hungarian mentality is very performance focused. So it's more about, you know, like winning and like training very, very hard. And yeah, I think like I did receive a lot of like I guess negative, you know, comments when I was not performing how they wanted, like how my coaches wanted me to perform. And even at home, like I have a little bit more pressure back home as well from my dad, especially because although like he always like wanted me to like, yeah, he wanted me to succeed all the time. So, you know, when I underperformed, like it wasn't mad at me or anything, but there was like that kind of pressure that really like made me doubt myself. And yeah, I guess like in Abu Dhabi that shifted completely. I still to this day I'm like battling a little bit with confidence, but in Abu Dhabi I really like my coaches were amazing, and they just stood by me and like encouraged me all the time. So I guess that was the biggest transition for me, and like yeah, the biggest battle that I had to like, you know, overcome, and I'm still overcoming today as well.
Yeah, for sure. So on that switch, it sounds like you went from like a very competitive kind of like setting an outcome goal up here, and then you had to switch to more of a growth mindset where you're really kind of going your process goals and kind of incremental goals to get up to where you need to be. So in that, how was that shift in mindset? Was it uncomfortable? What did you do to kind of just go, no, this is where I need to be and this is where I'm at and this is how to get there? Like how did that shift come, and like how did you overcome that, I guess?
Yeah, it was a very long process. Like I think I needed at least a year to get used to the new environment in Abu Dhabi in terms of like the mindset, because I was also very like you know, I had a very like winning mindset back when I was a track and field athlete. And yeah, it had to like, I don't know, like I guess it was when I realized that like it's more about the community, it's more about, you know, being able to do what I love, and what I love was playing football. So I guess that's when I kind of realized, like, even though I was a track and field athlete back in my years and I was like, you know, winning competitions and performing really well, I wasn't truly happy. So I guess like, you know, when I started playing football, yeah, I needed a few months, a year even, to adopt to that. But yeah, I figured that I love that better.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So my next question to both you guys, and whoever wants to answer first, they can. So when experiencing a major event in sporting life, such as getting cut from a team or an injury, it basically stops you from the sport. What steps did you take to get back to the sport, regain that confidence so you can play at the level that you needed to be at? Anybody can jump in.
I guess like for me with injuries was the question of patience, because I'm a very impatient person, and like whenever I had a lot of problems with my ankle, even when I was a track athlete, but also when I started playing soccer. And you know, like when the doctor said that I should just like rest it and not really play with it, yeah, I just couldn't like be could not be on my feet. So yeah, I just wanted to jump right back at training, and that's how it actually got worse. So yeah, for me it was patience, and also the mentality. Like, if I knew that I can overcome this by listening to my coaches, to my strength and conditioning coaches, and everyone, that's when I actually started my recovery process. So yeah, I think it's all in your head. For me, at least, it was all in my head.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the injury side of things. I had an injury for a few years, and it only just within the past few years had gotten better. And I think the exact same thing with just like patience and having trust within your support staff and your physio staff. I think that's the most important, and just to surround yourself with people who help you like remain confident that you can come back from this, and like whatever the barrier is that's stopping you, as long as you believe in yourself and you put in that extra work, you can really overcome anything. And I think just being patient with yourself is the most important. That nothing will ever heal overnight. Nothing, like, you won't get better overnight. Like, it does take time, and you just need to be patient with it.
For sure. Awesome. Gord, it's over to you for the next question.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the last 16 months. Time-stamped the interview. It's June 2021. But obviously, each one of us has persevered through some, very individual challenges over this period. In-school classes being canceled, entire sports programs being canceled. And also very tragic family circumstances that have occurred throughout all of this, resulting from the pandemic. Just tell us a little bit about your journey through the pandemic and some of the challenges, and maybe some advice about how you've been able to avoid distractions and stay on track.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, my team, like, we were in the middle of training, and COVID hit, and we weren't with each other for, I want to say, 4 or 5 months. And that was super hard because we are a team. We train together, we run together. So not having the facilities that were given to us available during COVID was definitely hard. And to go to a field and grind out your conditioning was super hard, especially when you were alone. But just to know that everybody was in this situation, it wasn't just you, and everyone is pushing to get better and to come back as soon as COVID, we were very lucky as a national sport team to have the government allow us to come back to training with smaller groups. So just having that to look forward to, coming back to training, knowing that everybody was putting in the work, like the hard work over the past 5 months, was definitely uplifting, although the circumstances weren't very great. But I think just having, again, like the good, right support system, and knowing that everything happens for a reason, and that you're not alone through all of this, that the whole world was going through the exact same thing, and that you weren't alone, and people were almost struggling together. It definitely kind of, for me, took a weight off my back, knowing that my teammates were going through the exact same hard conditioning that I had to go through. But in the end, at the end of the day, we were just bettering ourselves for each other.
Great, thanks for that answer. Awesome. Boglarka?
Yeah, so for me, like, I was still in Abu Dhabi with my old team when COVID hit, and I mean, I don't know if fortunately or not fortunately, but or unfortunately, but so COVID hit right before our final game, which was good in a sense because we only had that one game left from the season. But of course, it was our last final, so I was upset about that. But we still had each other, so we still could play and like meet up. So we were still there for each other. For me, the hardest part was leaving them, And then, I was a bit excited because during the summer, like things a little bit calmed down in Europe. So I was hoping that, in England, maybe I would be able to start my new journey with a new team, hopefully a new family. So I was very excited about that. But unfortunately, like as soon as I made it to the team, like I actually like went to the trials, and the next day was like the lockdown was announced. So yeah, I was very upset, and I kept blaming kind of myself. I don't know why, about this whole situation. Like, I was saying that I'm unlucky. I didn't deserve it in the first place. So yeah, like I really needed at that time, especially that support system around me, like my friends who were telling me that this is not your fault, like this is just an unlucky time, like everyone is experiencing that. So yeah, I think I couldn't have gotten through without them, like without my support system. Yeah, it's just staying positive. Like that's all I can say. Like that helped me a lot. Like just changing my whole mindset, and yeah, setting smaller goals for myself maybe. Yeah, but then now, because I had to came back to Hungary, and actually my dad encouraged me to apply. I'm not apply, but to go to one of the teams here in Hungary to see where I am, and yeah, that helped me as well a lot. The idea, like the hope that I can play again.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for that, Boglarka. All right. We're going to be starting to wind it down with the last one or two questions. Go ahead, Dia.
Awesome. Yeah. So just to kind of wind it up here, for both of you, if you had to sum it up in a couple of words in terms of like kind of a statement to give young athletes and young girls coming up into this sporting system, and it'd be really interesting because we're, Boglarka, you're in Hungary, and then we have one here in Canada. So what's in a couple of words for both of you? What's this one big strong statement you can give to young athletes going forward?
I think just test your limit. Don't limit yourself to only being a one sport athlete, or that you don't think you can do something, so you're not going to do it. You should always, test yourself, like push your limits, and never give up. I think believing in yourself is such a big thing, and a lot of younger athletes, I know myself, like I wasn't very confident in myself. So I think just instilling confidence and believing in yourself to test your limits.
Awesome. And Boglarka, what do you have to say to young athletes today, young female athletes?
Yeah, yeah. I can also say that, like, please believe in yourself, and also like do what you love. Like this is like for me what I learned, especially like in my past 5 years, is like doing what you love is so much more important than like performance or success. Because when you do what you love, like you're gonna succeed in, maybe not performance wise, but for you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Just jump in here. Boglarka, you were asked the question on a podcast, how can we include more girls in sport? You answered, it's about providing more opportunities for women and girls to be able to play.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I wanted to mention that today.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to get these panels rolling, and you've had amazing advice for young athletes, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. So have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for having us.
for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.